Jessica just agreed to come and say a couple of words about the conventions around how a slam competition works. And then we're gonna get each of the 3 performers randomly drawn from a hat, and we'll get them to do a piece for you. And we have 5 judges who kindly volunteered from the crowd, so they will do some judging. So Jessica, come up.
Let me sit in the middle. Let me sit in the middle.
Slam poetry began in the 1980s by a man named Mark Smith. It originated in a Chicago jazz club called the Get Me High Lounge, where guests would orally perform their poetry and compete among one another in front of a live audience. This modern form of expression quickly caught on and developed into the worldwide phenomenon of spoken word poetry. Locally, here in Ottawa, slam poetry took off with an organization called the Capital Slam Competition. Performers battle for one of the top 5 positions on a team of poets who compete at many events together, including the Canadian Festival of Spoken Word, where the Ottawa team actually placed first last season. Slam poetry has become hugely successful. It is a tight-knit community of poets and show organizers who work together and encourage one another to help promote the organization. So, as Kate mentioned, the judges have already been chosen. So lastly, audience participation is key. So everyone, you are please asked to snap your fingers when you hear something that particularly strikes you or that you really like, and also to raise your fists and say, raise it, to help encourage our poets as they take the stage. I have a makeshift hat here, so I don't know, maybe Mandy, since you've been so wonderful about getting this organized, pick a name for us, see who's going to be out front.
And while that's happening, the raise it, it's you tell the poet that's coming up before their piece. You say it once. You put your hand up and you say, raise it. And then they'll do their piece. And by they, I mean me at one point. But it's like an encouraging crowd just to let the poet know that you guys want to hear what we're saying.
Absolutely.
But you say it the one time at the start.
So I'm going to count it down because you know what? You are the lucky first one. So our first performer will be Mosha, aka M.O. And I'm going to do a good raise it for you. So I'm going to count down from 3. And then as Mosha says, it's a really wonderful way for the audience to encourage and show your love and show your respect for the poets and what they're about to give you. Different slam scenes in the town have different ways of doing it, so we adopted cap slams, but you may see love and some other ways of raising it as well. Speak. Yeah. So, all right, get your fist up there for me. We're going to count down. 3, 2, 1.
Raise it!
Thank you, Mosha.
I didn't know what I was going to do till just now. So I'll give you probably my most beloved piece. Not by you. I know what your favorite piece is. Inuit existence was dependent partly on each member of the encampment being able to, at the very least, get up on their own 2 feet, walk across the jagged tundra to follow the moving caribou so everyone could eat. So we adopted an effective means of excising inefficient limbs from the family tree that saw the aged floating on ice pans and insolent sons turned away to find their own path through the cruel Arctic days. This isn't a tradition we should reprise as it slides snugly into its place in the still mostly unwritten Inuit histories, but it has a related convention that's made its way down into unofficial modern Inuit custom. If you've walked downtown Montreal, you've seen it. And in Ottawa, the spring thaw brings about the re-emergence in earnest of the panhandling Eskimos downtown between the mall and King Edward on Rideau Street. Whether those people are a nuisance isn't a question to me, because I have to ask if they're friends of the family, maybe a second cousin, and do I have to follow protocol, stop and ask a few inconsequential questions? I try to avoid having to do that by remembering that from a distance, I could look Thai. But Inuit, we could never fully ostracize. So when I meet one, I stop, say hi, and I try to be polite. I ask about my friend, their son, despite the likelihood that I was the last to see their child. And it pains when they ask and I have to tell them, I hadn't seen your kid in a little while, but at least I know he wasn't going to trial. It takes a certain distance to watch these lives with blood that courses from the same point as mine float away on slabs of concrete ice. But disease strikes, and existence has always insisted on a little bit of indifference.
All right, judges, we have 5 judges in the crowd. Take a minute, write down your score of 10, and you're going to
Poetry to numbers.
Yes, poetry to numbers. You're going to flash those up, and we're going to try and get it so Sam over here, who's volunteered to keep score, can see them. So 1, 2, 3. Can we get the scores up?
Allie, can you turn your distraction?
Okay, so I've got a 9.3.
Yeah.
And I should have said this is also part of
9.3.
Also feel very free to heckle the judges. This is part of SLAM. So a 9.3, an 8.5.
What? Liar!